Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is John Elder. John is the founder and chair of Elder Research. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
John, let's start with yourself, please, as we do with all of our guests. Could you give us a bit of an overview of your background in technology and what your journey has been like from where you got started? I would say some of the roles you've held along the way, but you've been doing Elder Research for quite a while now. But talk to us about your background, and then we'll jump straight into your company, Elder Research.
Well, thank you. I studied engineering and loved the idea of being an inventor. And I've actually found writing algorithms to solve problems to be a really great way to exercise that interest. I worked for 5 years, mostly in the aerospace consulting industry for a small company that was very innovative. I got in on some of the earliest people doing inductive modeling. That was exciting. I left that to get a PhD to study this stuff more, and then did a postdoc back at my alma mater at Rice University, which was a lot of fun. And that was interesting because no one cared. It was a very strange transition. No one cared what I was doing, whereas before my time was seemingly valuable and everybody wanted more of it, and I was frankly working too many hours. All of a sudden I could do whatever I wanted, and it was strangely disquieting at first, but then I was able to discover some cool things, and I realized I could do this full time and launched my own company. That was in 1995, and I moved back to Charlottesville, Virginia, which is a beautiful place, and just slowly got started. The research in the name is a little bit deceiving in that we don't primarily do research, we primarily implement things, but we like to use cutting edge research, and we have contributed to the field and the literature, but that's not our prime. Our prime motivation is to solve problems and take away pain.
Thank you so much for that, John. Obviously, the business has evolved since you first launched it back in the mid-90s. I want to set the stage for the current version of Elder Research, giving some insight into the types of customers you're working with, the problems that you're solving for them, and really zoning in on your utilization of modern data science and AI. So what can you tell us about the practice, the companies that you're working with, and give us a little bit of insight into how you're using AI data science to help these customers?
We've grown steadily over the almost 30 years. We're about 150 now in 4 states, 4 offices: Washington, Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. And the growth has been just a result of doing things well and getting recommended to other folks. We've worked in a huge variety of fields. A majority of our people actually have clearances and do national security work, very important things, one of which be insider threat. We do a lot of needle in a haystack problems. There's a finite but extremely large danger that somebody is revealing secrets to foreign powers or something like that. And so how can you head that off at the pass before it becomes a big disaster? So that's one way that data science is used inside large cleared organizations. Other ways of identifying threats and trying to stop them. That's more than half of our work. In the cleared world, we also have a lot of work with government agencies, mostly doing anti-fraud, waste, and abuse work. We've been able to, for instance, for the IRS, it's not individuals that typically defraud us taxpayers, it's organized crime. And one of the biggest application area there is earned income tax credit. We were able to save about $20 billion over a few years by doing a much, much better job of identifying fraudulent returns. So the impact can be pretty amazing. And then we have a wide variety of commercial clients, from Hewlett-Packard and British Petroleum and Anheuser-Busch. But we have a wide variety of interesting commercial things we do. And those can start very rapidly and end very rapidly. So there can be a lot of interesting projects that people can get involved on in a single year.
I'd be curious to understand the any underlying trends or what you're seeing and hearing from your customer base that are the biggest needs, and what are the most common problems that they're coming to you with, and what's the process from there, from first iteration of a problem to architecting how you guys are going to solve it, and then obviously the outcome at the end. It'd be good to understand the flow of that from start to finish.
That brings up an interesting point, is that when you talk about the whole life cycle of a project, the greatest weakness, this field is fantastic. You can solve so many problems, and we've had so much fun doing that. But the field as a whole has a very negative mark against it right now, in that roughly 5 out of every 6 projects that people work on never get implemented. There's a huge barrier to entry, because typically you're asking someone to change the way they make important decisions. You're saying, use this number that I'm going to give you, or this prioritization, or to make a decision, and they will fund a project, you will solve the problem, and then I'm told 5 out of 6 projects do not get used, either probably because of the fear of change. We have a much better track record. Our track record is more 9 out of 10 get used. That's one of the things we've learned over the many years, how to make it possible for our clients to trust us, trust the work, and use it to their advantage, get all their money back, and 10 or 25 or 100 times more from using our work. So that's, I think, very satisfying for our people, because people won't stay someplace if their work is not used. It's no fun to have it scraped off into the trash barrel because somebody was afraid of it. So we've learned how to work with folks from the very beginning to set expectations, to get realizable, measurable results right away toward their end goal. Get a single, they want to hit a home run, but get on base, keep moving, and get allies for your project. Get it to where you're not the person coming in to outshine them, but you're working with them so that together there's a success.
Staying on the topic of people, then, you've obviously built Elder Research since launching it over the years, and it would be good to give our audience a bit of a look behind the scenes of the team that you've assembled, the background of those individuals, what positions that exist, and how it all works together with the data scientists, the data analytics folks, and what interactions they have with your customers. So could you describe the environment, the team, from size, positions, and a bit of a day-to-day snapshot?
Sure. First, to point out, we've existed longer than degrees in this field have existed. So we are used to taking people who are motivated, intelligent, creative, and turning them into data scientists or data analysts or data engineers, or because we have been teaching that from the very beginning. And we have a mentoring program that's great. People really develop their careers here. A young man who used to work with us just visited the other day and gave a tech talk on some fantastic work he's been doing at Apple. He's been at Apple, basically retired after 11 years of success, ran an 80-person group by the end of it. He started with us. He was a cook when we hired him, but he had a great technical background also. But he would be asked, he was the first person Apple hired, I just learned, that didn't have a PhD, working in the field he was working in. And he was so successful that they changed their criteria to not require that anymore. But people would ask him, where did you get your PhD? And he said, I worked at Elder Research for 4 years. So I really love that answer, because we really help each other learn and grow in our career. And then, of course, we're excited when people, we're even excited for folks when they move on, if they're moving on to a great opportunity and are able to use those skills to help other people. But data science is not just technology. To get people to use what you're doing, you have to be able to speak human. You have to also have people that know a lot about data, that handle the data, that do the algorithms, that know the statistics, that are great with persuading people and communicating people and listening to people. And that is not typically a package that's all in one person. So it's really important to have a team and have strong team dynamics. So we hire people that will work well with teams, that will give honest feedback to others, that will take critical feedback that help them do their job better, that they'll take it so their egos don't get in the way. We like to hire humble people, because nobody likes an arrogant consultant and nobody likes an arrogant teammate. So we want people with a lot of skill that are humble about it.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
One of the things we were talking about off air was the broad nature of the customers that you're supporting. It spans multiple industries with very unique problems in each of those. And it's great for people at Elda Research who like variety, who like problem solving, because no two projects are the same. Are there any recent examples that you could share with us which would demonstrate the different customer types, the different problems, and how, if a member of your data org wanted to work on different projects, share with us some examples that would demonstrate the variety of work that's available at Elda Research?
A lot of our work falls into the category of workload prioritization, sort of needle in a haystack problems. And the needles might be something very bad like fraud, or they might be very good like some kind of investment opportunity. And so we built up a lot of skills in that area. And a couple I'd love to talk about. One was helping British Petroleum identify gas wells that were about to freeze up and stop producing, either through temperature problems or clogging or even predictive maintenance that they're being done. They had staff available and equipment available to visit about 1/5 of the oil wells in the northwestern U.S. that they own in any given year. So which 1/5 should they go to and in what order? And we had vast amounts of data from them of temperature and pressure, data that no one really had ever looked at. It was so large and vast, of all pipes everywhere. And from that, they wanted to predict 4 to 6 months in advance where a clogging or a freezing was going to occur. And we were able to not do that perfectly, but do it 3 times better than that they were doing. And the implementation to get more gas money out of the ground required no more maintenance people than they already had. We just gave them new directions to go and new identifications, and the results were very positive. That one was a really tough technical problem that apparently after we solved it, essentially, we found out that we were like the 4th team that had engaged to do that. So we were very proud of that. And it involved a cascading series of models because there was a lot of missing data and a lot of very noisy data that had to be dealt with, and quite challenging, but very satisfying. Another one that was unusual and fun for us was in a completely different field of drug discovery. Whole fields tend to wake up to analytics at one time. Typically when one competitor starts to use analytics and gain market share, all of a sudden everyone becomes interested. And in the drug discovery world, there were a couple of companies, Pharmacy and Upjohn, had merged together and had a compound that they had tested. They'd spent $300 million testing it, and the results were kind of meh. They weren't good enough for approval by the FDA, and if they needed to get more data, it would cost them another $1 billion, which they didn't quite have. They would have to team with even larger firm to get that. So it was basically risking the whole business. And the question was, should we go forward or not? And we were asked to take a look at the data. Now, chemistry was my worst subject. I don't know much about that domain, but I know a lot about data, and that's how we operate. Someone in the data science field can help any other field if we take the time to learn from them what the output is, what the inputs are, what the relationships of the data and so forth, that kind of communication. And we were able in a short amount of time to refocus their problem and build a 2-graph display that showed that indeed in 3 dimensions instead of 1 dimension, their new compound was quite effective. And they said, thank you very much. And it was many years later that I learned they used our information, invested the $1 billion, and succeeded. And it was one of the 3 drugs that consortium of companies was successful with in the decade. So we can make a big impact as data scientists, because people who are experts in chemistry or mechanics or any other field we're working in aren't experts at data analysis. And when we partner with them, the team can succeed with great impact.
I want to finish on talking about the near-term roadmap. Obviously, John, you've been working in this space for a number of years before the terms AI and data science even existed. So you've got a unique sense of the evolution of the needs from customers. But from where you sit right now, looking at the portfolio companies that you guys work with and support and the tremendous opportunity ahead, when you look at the near-term roadmap, particularly the next 12 to 18 months, what are some of the things that you're expecting to see? What are you excited about for the opportunity at Alldus Research, and where are you seeing any growth opportunities for the business?
We do see a lot of growth opportunities. To present, we have grown at a steady rate of around 18% a year, 20% or so. That is probably consistent with the need to mentor people. You can't just double overnight and have the same quality and so forth. So we don't know that we will leap in growth, but we have a lot of opportunities. There's interest from all of our customers are growing. And so we could use some great people to join us because we have a lot of good opportunities ahead. In the commercial space, we're doing a lot with hospitality. We've done a lot with consumer packaged goods, helping them price things and predict flows and so forth. And in the national security area, we have a lot of opportunity and just a huge success rate that has given us a great reputation in the field. We have some great people. We could continue to grow and have an impact and really serve people. That's my calling, is to help other people using this awesome technology and in the environment of people you like and respect. It's nothing like working together with other smart and friendly people to make the day a pleasant one. So we see a lot of bright things ahead. AI has gotten a lot of attention. Some of our contacts and customers are very interested in seeing what applications the very latest technology can do, and we have a deep understanding of the technology so we can help them not make very costly mistakes and use it before it's ready and so forth.
John, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. It was great to learn about the origin story behind Alldus Research, the number of years you've been in the space, the types of problems that you're solving for your customers, how you're utilizing the data science, data-backed decision-making beside all of it, and then the opportunity in store, particularly the next year or so. So we wish you, the team, and everyone at Alldus Research the very best of luck in the months and years to come, and look forward to having you back on the show in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.